just come, we've had some fun.
It's time for the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast. Here with a load of laughs, info, and fun, it's Tony B, Dave B, and Timmy D.
Before I go alone. Don't ask me this and one more song. It ain't too costly, no, I ain't too cheap, so just relax. I'm on my knees.
Welcome to the Ship's Gonna Happen, episode number 132, David B.
132, producer Tony.
321, 132.
We're in our, or at least my favorite spot today.
Yeah, welcome to the Ship's Gonna Happen, episode 132. We are live at the Great Divide on St. Patty's Day.
The greatest divide. This is St. Patty's Day Show 2014.
I'm liking
Tony,
it.
We've got some great guests already lined up, already here in the studio, and it's going to be a awesome day.
Yeah, so join us. Francois here.
Nolan's
here.
Nolan's
So-
sitting in Tim's chair this morning.
We'll have some other guests come in, as David said. Welcome to Ship's Gonna Happen podcast. The views of Ship's Gonna Happen podcast are purely news-driven, topic-driven, do not express the views of any business entity or any transportation provider. We do it for the
Transportainment.
kaboom. We do it for the transportation. Yes, we do. Francois, you look great this morning. Yeah.
So, Francois, I'm not sure if you've picked up on this already or not, producer Tony. But first, before we get into Francois a little bit, this show, along with all of our shows, is brought to you by The Great Divide, 743 East New York Street, downtown Indianapolis. Great place to go after Ship's Gonna Happen week. Great place to go unwind, get a great meal, get some good beverages, hear some good music, chat it up with the locals. Stop by and say that the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast sent you in. Jen and her crew will do a great job taking care of you. Producer Tony, we have Francois. First off, we have Nolan sitting in the little chair or the big chair.
Yeah,
today.
Nolan's here. I was going to say he looks good too.
He does. And then
Thank you very much.
Francois, what do you notice new about Francois?
He's
this
having
morning?
glasses on.
That's right. He went
Oh
ahead.
yeah, well I got an age, it's called cataract surgery.
Okay.
It's time, and it feels strange actually because
I
I've
bet.
been wearing glasses since I'm 6 years old. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
quite a swinge. Yeah,
Wow.
So what
And
kind of process is that?
the cataract surgery.
Yeah.
Well, they go and it removes like of a plastic between your eyes, and I don't know the exact term, but I can see better.
But so it took like a day or two, and then
It's a good thing.
yeah, a day or two, and then
About a little bit more, 3-4 days, so a week to get it back together.
you feel like a
know.
teenager again.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's good. I feel like I'm 2 years younger.
And both eyes have been done already?
No, I'm getting the next one done next in a couple of weeks. I
So
think.
they do one at a time.
Well, they were going to, and I was on the table ready to go, and something happened that my heartbeat went a little high, and I ended up in the ER
okay.
for 36
Oh,
hours
crap.
adventure.
Oh, wow.
I love it. It's good, but I'm
Man.
here, and then feeling good.
Thank you, Jen.
Man, I need to get the that kind of surgery. I thought about it because I hate wearing them all the time, and I
Okay.
can't wear
Oh.
sunglasses.
Yeah, I couldn't either, but no, I can. I wore sunglasses to drive this morning. It's kind of nice, actually.
Yeah.
So the surgery you're talking about, it would be different, right?
It'd be
Tony?
different,
It-
yeah.
Well, you got the laser surgery,
Laser.
which is a thing.
LASIK.
Right?
LASIK,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it called.
Okay.
Cataract surgery, I believe. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but it's
Yeah.
something that with age,
The-
you
the
kind of
medical
need to
advice
have down.
provided today has not been provided by professionals.
No, I know.
Nolan's over here going, man, these people are really stinking
Well,
old.
it's a club of old folks. You know,
see.
we
Yeah.
always talk about the pain
Yeah.
that occurs once you go over 60. I'm the only one over 60, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm turning 65 in a couple of months.
Are
My
you
God,
really?
I'm going to be closer to 70 than 60.
But
That is scary.
But you got the blood of a tiger.
Meow.
A big pussycat, maybe not a tiger anymore.
Right. But you look young, though. You look a young, I don't know how to say that, but yes, cheers. Happy St. Patty's
Cheers,
Day,
yeah.
fellas. I've got to pour mine.
Nolan, happy St. Patty's Day.
Yeah. Thank you.
And Jen, the marvelous Jen,
Yes. Yeah.
happy St. Patty's Day to you, ma'am.
Jen, if he plays that, can he play it kind of out in the other? It almost seems like it would be too piercing.
What's he going to
I
play?
didn't talk to you.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. We might have to hear some
Yeah.
bagpipes.
Well, if you're all right with that, but I think
Yeah.
it's too
Ambiance.
He's going to ground us out.
piercing.
We got to rush through this show. Hurry up. Francois, you're doing good this time.
Jen, am I wrong? It seems like it's 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not trying to
Yeah,
second
no, right.
guess. I just don't want to.
Oh, yeah. Hey.
Blow out your ears.
Yeah.
Or, but he was in here last night playing it. Did an excellent job.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
So
Does anybody know any Irish sayings?
I don't.
Anyway,
Any Irish
Top
sayings?
of the morning.
Look at hey, no.
Top of the morning,
Top
eh?
of the morning to
That's
you?
why we brought him
Oh.
along.
Yeah.
Well done.
I have a little Irish.
Are you Irish?
Well, the name's German, Bauman, but
Should
mother's
like
side
to
is
have-
Irish.
Would you like to have some Irish in you?
Yeah.
I think I'm all right.
Those Irish
But,
eyes.
Yeah. No, a little Irish, a little German, a
Mm.
little English, a little everything.
Do you know where Francois is from?
France?
France.
Wow. What gave that away?
Francois is pretty close.
Yeah, Francois.
Yeah.
So have you watched Six Nations on Netflix?
no, I have not. I have not because
What's that about?
I'm not subscribed to Netflix for a while, but I'm very familiar with Six Nations. Growing up in Europe. Yeah.
First time I'd ever heard of Six Nations. There's a documentary on Netflix. Nolan, are you familiar with it at all or no?
I haven't seen it now.
So Six Nation is a rugby tournament.
It's a rugby tournament, a yearly rugby tournament that used to be the tournament of the Five Nations, where you had England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland, and France.
Oh.
And over the last few years, they added Italy. They needed to have somebody to lose constantly. So we put Italy. No, if there's any Italian out there, I apologize, but it's the truth. But it's very serious. Rugby is huge all over the world. I mean, you have the American U.S. team called the Eagles.
Okay.
And they are very good. They're very good. There is a World Cup every 4 years of rugby, like there is a World Cup of soccer,
Oh, wow.
and it's huge. And the U.S. team have always been pretty good.
So you seen this,
Nice.
David? This
I'm
worth
on the
seeing?
very last episode. There's 8 episodes, and I'm on the last one. And this was for the year 2023.
Oh.
And I will say, France holds their own.
Oh, yeah. They're always good.
I
Yeah.
mean, not that
Duh.
they wouldn't. Not that they wouldn't. It's just, I'm like,
Yeah.
God. And
What
that's,
a
I
surprise.
like Marion University. They just started a rugby program, and I went to a few of their games. I love that rugby.
Yeah.
I mean, just that sport. When somebody hits, it's
Right.
that's the sound.
It's a contact kind of game. Yes. So
Yeah.
it's no pad, no
Awesome. I'll
helmet,
check it out.
teeth protection, and balls protection. That's about it.
Did you ever go to many or any while you were growing up, rugby?
Oh yeah, oh absolutely. I'm born in a city, Toulon, the south of France, where the team has been Division One, the equivalent of, Premier League if you're of rugby, and they are champion many years in a row, black and red. Oh yeah, I've been to many games. It's
Wow.
kind of fun, and I played for about a year too
One of the
as a
things
kid.
that I noticed while I was watching this is there weren't, no matter where the games were being played, there in the stands, you didn't see a lot of people drinking. Is there a reason behind that, or am I?
There are quite a lot of drinking going on. If you notice one thing, pretty much everybody
probably cut it
stands
off.
up during the whole game.
Hmm.
In my hometown, and it's a big stadium, there is a trench between the field
Mhm.
and the stands, and there is barbed wire.
Wow.
And that's not to protect the players, to protect the referee, because they get abused quite a bit.
Oh, I bet.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty intense. They call the hooligans in England. It's
Mhm.
rugby is as bad as soccer or as good. Will
Right.
depend the way you look at it.
Yeah.
It's
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man.
It is. I mean, if you get a chance, watch
Yeah.
that Six Nation. It always, when I see that kind, again, it's not quite the soccer fandom, but it's pretty close. The
Oh,
level
it
of
is pretty
fandom.
intense. I would put that on a bucket list, actually. If you go
Oh.
to Europe, to either go to a soccer game,
Yeah.
whether it's in France, England, Italy, Spain, or Germany, and a rugby game,
Yeah.
just to feel the ambience. It's quite nuts. It's
Oh, I bet.
amazing.
I've seen it on TV before. It's pretty.
Yeah, it is pretty
outstanding.
intense.
So what's new with the book, man?
Well,
And
the
your
book.
movie?
Well, the book. The book. No, I'm going into the 4th year being published.
Congratulations.
I've yet to have a month without a sale, so it's doing well.
Mm-hmm.
And the screenplay is officially done as
Wow.
of 2 weeks 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Logan Enter had a meeting with him for 3 hours this week, and we are putting a little finalizing little twistings, timeline kind of thing. Like, for example, 1967, I'm inside the school and my father is coming to rescue me from Paris. And Logan in a screenplay put, and of course, not to his fault, he doesn't know, he said that the principal called me over the intercom to come to the principal's office. Except 1967, Paris, no such thing as an intercom in the classroom. The principal came and got me.
Right.
So little
That's
thing,
hilarious.
timeline kind of thing.
Yeah.
1978, he has me listening into a Walkman with a HearPod and sharing with one of my girlfriend. 1979, 1980, that's when they came out pretty much, a little early. And another little detail, stupid, that silly details, for example, he talked about when I live in Paris back in the 60s, and he described in one of the scene, I'm going up the step to get into the building. But, because he lived in Manhattan for 10 years, so for those of you who have been to Manhattan, you know that most of the apartments, you go up the step, there's no rails. In Paris, no, it's flat. You open the door and you go into a courtyard. There is no step. So little details like that, a lot of details.
Wow. You caught all that?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I lived the story. So,
well, yeah.
Of course, like I say, I'm an old fart, so, yeah.
That's awesome.
I remember the 60s. Logan is 40, 41 maybe.
Yeah, right.
So, and in fact, we are planning a trip to France together because, as you know, we're going to shoot 40% of the movie in France, and he's never been there. So I want to take him there. So we go to the place in Paris, at the train station where I was kidnapped, and in the south of France also. So we're just to scout the places because he's never been there. So he gets a feel of what it's going to be like and where to
that's
shoot.
exciting.
And the rest we're going to shoot in Atlanta, being a big city. And we have a few things, a lot of things in mind.
That's exciting from where it's gone from. To where
and I'm discovering everything. That the fact shooting the scene when I am in the middle of the ocean Atlantic and the storms and so that's going to be studio. Green screen.
Right, green screen it.
I don't know if any of you have seen the movie. It's an old movie,
300
Perfect
Men?
Storm. Perfect Storm.
Yeah, it's all green
I don't know
screen.
if you remember. It's all green screen, but you look at that movie. Whoa, yeah, it's like being there. So it's gonna be pretty intense.
There's a famous war movie too, 300 Men.
300 Men.
300.
Yeah, 300.
Yeah.
That was all green screen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's amazing. Nowadays it's like you're there. So I can't wait for all that to happen. Definitely, we have a couple of actors sign up, but one is in New York and another lady is in Atlanta. She's going to play one of my girlfriend. The actor from New York is going to play my dad, and everybody else got to audition. So yeah, it's happening. Now, there is a minor detail is once we finish tweeting the finalizing the screenplays, all those details that I just mentioned, Logan is going to put the press kit together, which is a business plan.
Oh, yeah, right.
And we got a minor detail. We got to come up for $30 million.
Yeah.
Once we get that, we can start, shooting.
That's how it works, though, right?
That's how it works.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Yeah.
You can tell.
It's exciting.
For those of you who haven't read the book, the last chapter, I'm 19 years old. 4 days before I turned 20, I have $50 in my pocket, pack of cigarette, one-way ticket, and a dream.
What kind of cigarettes?
They were French cigarette, Gauloise, blue pack, non-filter, which is pretty much what we smoked back then, And I smoked a lot, but back in the days, I was 8 years old when I bought my first pack of cigarettes.
Wow.
I
You
gave
could do
20
that in
cents to a
France?
guy, and he gave me a pack of 4. Yeah.
Like a guy in the street?
Yeah. Oh, tobacco shop. It didn't matter.
Really?
Yeah, I was bartending when I was 14.
Wow.
What's
15
wrong with
actually, which
America?
is legal.
Yeah.
So different time, different
Yeah,
culture.
right.
So if you like to read an adventure, it's a pretty good book. I'm set up I did 7 book signing just last year in Atlanta. I did one in Atlanta this year so far, and I have one coming up in Terre Haute, April 18th.
Yeah.
So it's
Little Irish
it's
music
doing well.
in the background. So
I know, right?
Say everyone.
Yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day.
So Francois, so your sister still lives
Oh yeah, she
in
does.
France, right? So when you
Out
go
of
back,
6 siblings, we lost one, but everybody
Okay.
else is there. living next to each other. And that's another thing. Logan is going to meet them, because part of the credit of the movie, we're going to put them in the credit at the end. This is the actual person.
Right.
Whatever. Because I want to put them in the movie because.
Will you and Logan spend the night at your sister's? Or
the what?
Will you spend the night at your sister's?
Oh,
or,
yeah, of course. She
That's
has
fun.
a nice little house in the south of France with a swimming pool, palm trees, a bocce ball area. No, it's perfect.
Sounds beautiful.
The cellar is always full of rosé. No, it's a great little place to raise. Very relaxing.
That's good stuff, man.
Yeah,
It
it
is
is.
awesome.
Have you ever seen kind of one of the movie sets? Have you ever kind of seen one of those or been on one of those before?
Well, the only memory I have, I don't know if you guys remember the movie called The Pink Panthers,
Yeah.
back from the 70s, where Peter Sellers used to act. So 1976, I think they were shooting in the street in Nice, in the south of France. And I remember seeing all those lights in the middle of the night or early in the morning, and they were shooting, and it was like, whoa, crazy. And now it's going back to the future. That's what I'm going to be doing. So
Wow.
it's pretty amazing. I'm living the freaking dream.
You are, man.
I am.
You lived
I am.
it and then you're reliving it.
And I'm reliving it. And, like I said before, the book and the movie is not about the money. I couldn't care less about the movie. The money, like I say, I came here, I had $50 in my pocket, and I have 2 kids and 4 grandkids. I paid for both of my kids' college 100%.
Wow.
And no debts. So it's for me, it's to leave a legacy for my grandkids. I want my grandkids and their grandkids to know and remember who crazy French grandpa was, and why they were born on this side of the ocean and not in France. So that's it. That's my goal.
Man,
wow!
I want to leave a mark.
So you mentioned in pre-show, Francois, you've got a birthday coming up. Are there? It's kind of one of those monumental birthdays. Are you looking at slowing down? Are you looking at keeping the pace?
No. I'm going to turn 65 and
retiring.
No, I don't plan to retire. Why am I going to retire? I'm in a business where I make a friend at least a day. I go to 6-7 different restaurants every day. I get people drunk for a living. I got another wine tasting April 18th. No, April 26th in Fishers at a beautiful little French place called Le Macaron, where they sell wine. So I'll be talking for a couple of hours about wine, and we paired with some of their dessert, and I'll be talking about my book, and we give a couple of books away, and we give some prize, so it's fun. No, I don't want to retire. Plus, I've been divorced officially for a little over a year. So I'm last time I was single, I was 21 years old. I'm 65. I'm enjoying life.
Wow.
Life is good. No, I have no plan to retire.
Well, congratulations on everything, man.
I'll drink that.
Yeah, I mean, that's an incredible story, and
It's a good
I feel
story.
privileged to get to be a part of it by listening to it.
And you guys, like I say, my goal in life is to make a friend a day, and I made you guys as friend a long time ago,
Yeah.
and we're keeping that friendship, and I'm very glad and happy. I never take anything for granted, never,
Right.
ever, especially not friendship or love. So, you guys, I don't take you
Thank
for
you.
granted, but
Yeah,
I
no,
appreciate you calling me back and let me bore you with my stories.
It's a
No,
great
you're always
story.
welcome. We're happy to
thank
have you.
Thank you.
And it's always encouraging, and it's always rewarding to see, not only to hear the story where you've been, but also what progress is being made and where you're going with this. And we're all anxious to kind of see the finishing project.
It
and all
is.
that
It is
stuff.
quite
So,
exciting, considering when I was 10 years old, I lived in a closet for 4 months because I was so shy
Right.
and so afraid of the world. It's been good. It's been really
So the book
good.
we're talking about is called Made in France, and it's by François Hugon. Am I pronouncing? I
Yeah,
know
it's
we're gonna-
Hugon. Yeah.
Hugon,
Yeah,
and you can find it on Amazon.
Amazon.com, made in France, and it's right out there. Very inexpensive. It's a nice read,
a good
44
read.
chapters.
Yeah.
Every chapter is the name of a song from the 60s and the 70s. So as you read the chapters, you put the music on and you listen
The
to
soundtrack,
music.
yeah.
Soundtrack. I mean, for those of you out there, I'm sure you heard about Pink Floyd, Shannon, You Crazy Diamond,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to be part of the opening scene, actually. And for those out there from my generation, if you remember Grace Kelly, the Princess of Monaco, she's
Yeah.
chapter 28. When I met her, I was 17 years old, working as a waiter in Monaco. And so she's in the book. She marked my life. She did. So,
That's awesome, man.
and a few other stories. kidnapped twice by the time I was 10. Spent my 19th birthday in front of the pyramid in Egypt, stoned out of my freaking mind.
Wow.
Because I was the late 70s and 18 years old, I used to buy my own hashish in Cairo, downtown, which, nobody can do anything to me because I was 40 years ago. So different countries. So nobody can, I haven't smoked any hashish since I was 20. So it's been a good 40 plus years. So I'm good.
Listening to reading the book, I found myself kind of
smoking hash.
No, yeah. I kind of found myself relating to, especially in the younger years.
Yeah.
There was a time, and I don't want to give the book away, but there's a time where Francois was talking about being on the train and stuff, and then kind of having an imaginary friend, and I'm like, well, that shit's. A lot of kids kind of go through scenarios.
Well, I have a lot of people over the last 3.5 years that commented on that, the imaginary friend. Like a lot of us did have one. And I explained when it disappeared because I guess I was good on my own. I didn't need him anymore. So it's important. I removed a lot of stories from the original story, but I left one story also that hasn't offended anyone. That's a story that we all have in common.
Yeah.
That's a story when I lost my virginity.
Uh-oh.
And I left it in there. And you know what? I made it fun because it was fun. I was 14. She was 16. Older woman taking advantage of me. But it was fun. But people are commenting on that because we all have that day in common, whether it was good, bad, ugly. It doesn't matter. We all remember that day, and it's
good.
I'm glad I left it. I am.
Awesome.
Yes, I'm not a virgin anymore.
No, yeah. Definitely not.
Anyway,
awesome.
So it's good. Life
That's
is good.
Incredible.
Yeah, very much so.
The reason I asked about if you'd seen a movie set is just kind of a random thing me and past girlfriend did was we were extras on the Hunger Games.
Okay.
So we went to Atlanta, and it's just amazing to see like even the rocks are hollow and like made out of fiberglass or whatever. So it's really amazing when you see it. Like it looks like such a little, kids play set when you're there, but then when you see it on the big screen, it's amazing.
Magic of the movies. Yes, it does exist, and I can't wait to live it. So it's going to be
really cool.
Wow, super cool. So Nolan, what's new with you, sir? It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
You're since the last time we spoke, I know you were just new into starting a new job. Are you still there, and how are those things going?
Yep. So last time you guys saw me, I was in the training phase of being a freight broker.
Yeah, right.
And logistics. And
you were working for a company, right?
Yeah, Kula Logistics. Yep. In Carmel, Indiana. That's who I work for. Still there. Very happy. So now I've kind of moved on from the training phase. Now I'm out on my own and making relationships with people and moving their freight for them. And it's been great. Been enjoying it, and definitely a lot of learning, and it's always a different situation every day, different, kind of crazy stuff to deal with. And then other than that, it's been, I think, 5 weeks since I've used tobacco.
Okay. All right. Congratulations.
Now I do have a caveat. I did use Zen. I don't know if you guys seen
those
that.
things are great.
I'm not sure what that is.
It's basically a tobacco-less nicotine. But I was smoking, so I'm happy to not do that.
So you're doing the Zen?
Yep.
To help? Yeah.
And the plan is to get off of that as well.
Right. Yeah.
But it was a great transition because
it helped.
Yeah,
it works.
It's hard to quit smoking.
How long had you been smoking? You're a young looking guy, so
yeah, I'm 30.
Were you in the military?
Yes,
that's where you.
I was in the Marine Corps, and
it's tobacco heaven.
Yeah, a lot of smoking there. So that's kind of where I had done it here and there when I was younger. Some kids got a cigarette or whatever, but once I was in the military, it was we were all smoking or dipping. Everybody had some kind of nicotine. So that's kind of where it picked up. It was probably a regular smoker by the time I was like 20.
What'd you smoke?
It was probably 10 years. It was Marlboro, not Reds.
Marlboro Lights?
Some of the, like the think Marlboro Black and stuff.
Oh
like
yeah,
that, but,
I'm not in it. Some
but
guy
then-
said I'll take a 734. I was in line at the grocery store. He was like, take a M734.
Oh,
was
that
like,
might
what the
be
hell's
those vapes
that?
or whatever.
No, the cashier grabbed a pack of Marlboro. Like I never even seen the box before. I was like, what the
Yeah.
heck's that?
I don't know. My
But
second half of my stint, I was smoking organic, as I like to call it, which was American Spirits.
oh yeah,
So I'd always say it's organic, so it's okay.
right.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's not really.
Well, you know
so
what
yeah.
though? I had a great grandmother. She lived to be 102.
Mm,
She smoked her own tobacco that she grew.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So down in the Kentucky
Down
area?
in Kentucky, she grew her own tobacco, and she used to tell my dad, who smoked Winston's, still does. He still does.
Yeah.
You need to quit smoking those Winston's. And my dad's like, Grandma, you're smoking, and she's like, yeah, but I know what's in this.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, there you
Yeah.
go.
Swear to God,
So-
she smoked.
So Nolan, going
Yeah.
back to not 5 weeks again, congratulations. Does you having that beer in your hand this morning give you an urge to?
Get up and light up.
Yeah, alcohol definitely. That's kind of where the Zen comes in, right? It can stave it off when it's bad.
What's your
and,
flavor of Zen?
honestly, I like the flavorless ones. It just kind
The
of
chill?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I like too.
yeah. Doesn't have a flavor. Just
Yeah.
kind of throw it in there, takes the urge away, and then you
They're
move
pretty
on.
powerful, dude.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
When you say takes the urge away or off, for what duration of time?
I mean, I would say I only do maybe 2 or 3 of them a day.
we're not
which-
sponsored by Zen, but I'm
Right.
just going to say the difference for those that don't know,
Nor are we sponsored by Cool Logistics. Go ahead.
or the country of France.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
But the Zen is a nicotine delivery device without all the other stuff.
Yep.
So it's just nicotine, and actually, nicotine does have beneficial
Yeah.
qualities to it.
So how
Yeah,
much money do you spend on that?
I think a pack, like a little box of maybe 10 or 12 of them, is like $3 or $4.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's a little bit cheaper than tobacco.
Well,
Yeah, it's
I'm
cheaper.
looking at my number here because I quit smoking exactly 9 years, 3 months, and 18 days ago.
Okay.
Nice.
And I look at and back at when I set that up, I used to smoke Pall Mall the last time, and it was $4.50 a pack,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's still set up at $4.50 a pack. But I've saved actually $20,000
yeah.
$47.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good way to
$20,000,
look at it,
which I don't have
Yeah.
in my pocket,
right?
but I did not spend on cigarette.
Yep.
I spent it
To
for my
damage your
grandkids or
health. Yeah.
something else.
Sure.
Yep.
I haven't smoked 67,000 cigarettes.
Wow.
Wow.
And if I smoked those 67,000 cigarettes nonstop, it would have taken me 7 months, 21 days, and 22 hours. So when you look at this side, and
Yeah.
I know if I wouldn't have stopped 10 years ago, I would be dead right now
yeah.
because my lungs were quite messed up. And
Yeah,
they still are. It takes a while.
Yeah. I paired the Zen thing with, I found a really good book. It's called The Easy Way to Quit Smoking. Can't remember the author's name, but
Mhm.
it's a really good book because it's very different from he doesn't talk about like willpower, like, oh, I gotta quit. It's more like
Yeah.
understanding that you only want to smoke because you smoke. You wouldn't have the urge if you didn't smoke in the first place.
Well,
and it's a vicious cycle that feeds itself.
it's
And-
it's addicting.
yeah.
You know, you're addicted to it.
Right.
And pretty much the way I quit, which I tried many times, and but I finally did. And it is about willpower. It's about say, yeah, I'm gonna freaking quit smoking because I have grandkids and I want to stick around to be with
Yep.
them.
Yep.
And it took a lot of willpower. But what I did, I trained myself to be addicted to not smoking as
Yeah.
opposed to be addicted to smoking.
Yep.
And for the longest time, I kept a pack of cigarettes in my car
Mhm.
because, you know, when you smoke, you get in a car, you smoke one, you light one up, keep in my car. And every time I got the urge, I said, no, no, no. And finally, I rolled down the window once and I gave the pack of cigarette to a homeless guy,
Yeah.
which he took it with a great smile. And that's it. I haven't looked back.
So
But
do
it's
you-
a matter of addicting yourself. It is about willpower.
Mhm.
So I'm going to disagree with that guy, whoever he is. I'm a
Yeah.
quitter in that case, and I tried many
Do
years.
you
but
think,
yeah.
Francois, like for you growing up in France, and well, it didn't matter where anybody grows up, but do you think when you go back and you look at commercials and television, I actually went back and watched one of the first episodes Johnny Carson had.
Yeah.
And he was smoking.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like talking about cigarette and how smooth it was. And he was taking drags. Like, I was just amazed.
It's amazing that they used to Chesterfield.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was Chesterfield.
Absolutely. And I saw those. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And the Marlboro Man, they all ended up dying of cancer. All those guys that did a commercial. It's another thing about the book. I used to smoke in the airplane. So I am in the airplane, in Paris on my way to New York. And Logan described the ashtray because he's never been in an airplane when you smoke. He described the ashtray how you pulled it in from the front of you and laid down. But you didn't. He was on the side, like in a car. You have a little ashtray you pull up.
Right.
So I had to change that. So I got to find a picture of it, which you can do. So it's actually the right way to put it in a movie.
Yeah.
So, which I understand. And when people say, you used to smoke in plane? Yeah, I used to smoke in hospital.
I remember it. I remember it. Do you, David?
You had doctor who used to recommend the right cigarette.
Yes.
I always felt growing up that was the most disgusing thing ever. I mean,
It was.
I've never
It's
smoked
horrible.
anything.
Yeah.
The smell. And I remember being a
Did
teenager.
your parents smoke?
Yeah. I remember being a teenager and like gonna go do whatever with buddies, and every stitch of clothing I had just reeked, and so I would have to rewash it and run them through the dryer again because I didn't want to smell like that. I'm serious.
No, I know.
I didn't want to smell
reeks.
like that going out.
Yeah,
it was awful.
Yeah.
That was
always was turned
something
on.
that guy in that book that he goes into is he asked you to start accurately assessing what's going on when you're smoking. He's like, smell your hands afterward. Notice how dry your mouth is, how much your throat hurts. Like if you start actually paying attention to the things you ignore, you'll realize that this is bad. And if this was a monkey or a dog,
fingers being yellow.
Right.
Yellow.
Stained yellow.
Just you can't wash it up. It's crazy.
So Nolan, does your wife smoke or no?
No. So she has in the past. So she quit before me, and then she borderline almost started again because of me, and that was also something that really weighed on me. Is that
you're a bad influence?
Yeah,
Nolan.
she's one to smoke because I'm still smoking.
Right.
And then she fully quit for sure, and then the pressure was on, right? Because she's like, "Well, I quit."
Did your parents smoke?
No, actually, no. I mean, I grew up always thinking it smelled terrible. Adults would always say, "Don't ever do it; it's the worst thing ever." And
but again, when you got into the military, I mean,
everybody's smoking. I mean, you think it's not going to last that long, too, right? You're like, I've quit chewing off and on.
Well, for the longest time, it was like, well, I can smoke while, having a drink with buddies.
You used to be able to smoke in the military at your job. You probably couldn't have done that. Could you have done that?
Well, I will say I was in tanks.
Okay.
You cannot smoke on a tank.
Right.
So actually, most people dipped.
Yeah.
In my area, but everybody was getting nicotine one way or the other. So
I always wondered, like, when they started to originally ban smoking from workplaces, how those people could always, no matter when they wanted to, they could go out and like take a smoke break. And and you're like, maybe I should take a like. How many breaks a day do you need?
When you smoke, you need the break. So
my wife said that. So she worked in restaurants for like 10 years, waiter and hostess and manager and stuff. And if you didn't smoke, you didn't have like a concrete reason to get out of there and take a breath for 5 minutes and get away from the customers and the craziness. So everybody smoked in the restaurant.
So going outside and screaming really loud was looked or frowned upon, but you go outside and smoke to go, okay, awesome, I get it.
Well, I remember the days back in 91, I opened a restaurant in Atlanta. I was in the restaurant business for many years. But I remember smoking at the bar while I was working. Yeah. And at the end of the night, when I sat at the bar to do my paperwork, I was smoking at the bar. There was a smoking station in the restaurant. A lot of the new generation can't fathom that, but it was part of the training.
Yeah.
How to change an ashtray to make sure you always have a lighter on you so you can light the cigarette to the customers. That was part of the training. Yeah. So smoking was the biggest marketing thing.
I think David's right. It's a scam.
The money they made. And I think I smoke every brand imaginary on the planet.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, and it's all about marketing, addiction, and
sporting events.
Sporting events.
I didn't know about menthol when I was out of dip in the military.
Menthol, that's another.
And I went up to this black gentleman. It was a friend of mine. I said, "Hey man, let me get a smoke from you, T." He's like,
in a
"You ain't
hospital waiting room.
He's like, you ain't going to like this. And I was like, what? He gave me a Newport menthol.
Oh
I
man.
was, holy shit. Dude, I didn't have another cigarette for like
Oh yeah.
months. I'm like,
I used to say if I want to quit, I'm just going to smoke a whole pack of menthols
My
and
God.
just that'll ruin it forever.
and then they marketed those to the black community, right? Like the Cools.
Yeah,
The,
yeah.
Like if we were driving through Gary or
Yeah, it'd be
whatever,
cool, yeah.
the billboards
Yeah.
or what not. And again, we're not. It's just we're not trying to be whatever. It's just the way
It is what it is,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
they
yeah.
marketed it to
Listen,
black people.
marketing.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So Tony, did you ever? I don't think you ever consistently smoked, did you? Or did
Never
you?
really did. Nope. Had some spurts with it. In the military, I'd run out of dip and ask people for cigarettes.
Mhm.
How much grief did you get from your spouse over the dip?
Not really much.
Oh, okay.
I've quit off and on. It's been a battle. The Zen works.
Yeah,
It does work.
And there's no spitting. Or
Yeah,
anything,
it's just a beautiful thing. It really works.
Yep.
And so I probably will. I've tried that before,
Yeah.
and it worked.
I've seen you do those pouches. I just never questioned.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Tim tried them too for a while
Hmm.
when he got off it. But
I think it's good for
just
people.
a habit.
I was
that-
with Elliot last night, and he was. I'm sorry, Nolan.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying. I think it's really good for, like if you've been a smoker for quite some time, or maybe even if you do dip for quite some time, like it is extremely hard. Not just the nicotine part, but the act of doing it. It doesn't feel right anymore to
Yeah.
not go do that. So,
Right.
like, I have another buddy who he started vaping,
Oh,
then
Lord.
and which I wouldn't recommend, but he quit vaping, and that was kind of his transition period.
Into it.
And that's kind of what I'm hoping with the Zen is like, this is temporary because I've got used to not going outside every
think it'll work,
2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Taking another break.
So
There
how
goes
long-
Nolan.
Yeah, there
Taking
goes
another
Nolan.
break.
So what about
Yeah.
Elliot?
Jesus. I was with Elliot last night, and he was doing those. We were in Fountain Square, and we were going between bars, and he goes, we need to stop in this smoke shop, and he bought those Zens,
Oh, yeah.
experiment
Mhm. Yeah.
round, little bitty round thing,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Those cinnamon ones are good too.
I've
I don't
known
know if
that.
you tried that. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it puts some fire in your mouth, and you're
Yeah.
like, whoa.
That's my first time to ever go into a smoke shop. It was everything except for the marijuana. I mean, it was
Right.
all the paraphernalia, this and that stuff. It was my first time ever going.
Probably smelled like incense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they looked high as F when we were in there. Whoever
Mm.
was waiting on us. And I'm not trying to be whatever. I'm just saying that's the way it was.
You didn't go in the back room?
No, I didn't even. I was kind of like, that's my first time ever going into one.
All those bongs and everything are for tobacco use only. Okay.
Man, when I was
Yeah.
overseas, I was in Turkey, and those people, I walked by a shop and I saw a bunch of dudes sitting around smoking a hookah, and I was like, "What?" And I went in there, and they were like, "Come on, da, 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 da." And I was like, "What? No." But it was
Right.
hashish.
I do explain in the book. I describe when I bought hashish in Cairo.
Yeah.
Town. It's
Mhm.
was pretty intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I
To be
bet.
18 and do something like that's pretty
Yeah.
stupid. In fact, when my son turned 18, I looked at him and said, "God, I was that stupid."
Seems
Wow.
like, seems like a good way to get your money stolen.
Actually, I was protected by them.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
that's
just
good.
shook because he knew I was going there once every 2 weeks. I was there. You know,
Okay.
the cruise, I was on a cruise ship. So every 2 weeks we were in Egypt, Alexandria, and we took a cab and go to Cairo for 2.5 hours. And 18 years old, end up in the souk with a friend of mine. And then you wait in line. You have a little tray and you put 6 pieces of terracotta full of different hashes in it. And you wait in line, even though we didn't wait in line because you knew we were good for the money.
Mhm.
And we sit there and the water pipe, you know, and they were sitting in front of you and just blowing smoke in my face, trying to get me stoned so they could get more out of me.
Okay.
But they didn't. And it wasn't only cash; it was barter. I remember buying some with 50 francs and an electric razor and some little bottle of French liquor, which was tough for them to find.
Wow.
It was nuts. In fact, one day I come out of it and there was a fight, but they escorted us out, me and my friend, on the way to make sure we didn't get hurt because they knew we would come back and get some.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was nuts.
That's your next book.
Oh, no, it's
Has
not the
sheesh
next
with
book. I don't know.
Francois.
I don't know though. If that's going to be in the movie.
Is
Right?
there-
No, yeah.
Is there a next book, or would you?
No,
do
there
it?
is no next
hell
book.
no.
Are you kidding?
Come on.
I
It's part
see.
two.
Let me
Something
put it
stupid
this
like
way:
that.
I see 5 different doctors right now, and their goal, and I told them, keep me alive until the movie is over. After that, I don't care.
4 proctologists and a
No. Even though I am
Or
set up
shrinks.
for a new colonoscopy and endoscopy at the same time, sometime in June, I think it's that time again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the plan. No more books. This is the end. This is the end of the story.
This is the end.
Once the movie is over, I don't care.
Friend.
I have a good life. I got 4 grandkids. My kids are set. I'm good.
Yeah.
I have an ex-wife. That's part of the dream too, I guess. Hey, after being married 42 years,
Everybody
that's a
aspired to
long time.
have an ex-wife or an
Well, I don't know. I wasn't planning
42
to. I
years
thought
is
I
a
was
long
going to
time.
grow old with her,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
she decided not to. So fine.
Francois, why I don't want to give you the boot, and you're welcome
Yeah,
to
yeah.
sit back. And we're going to bring on
Of course,
a new guest,
yeah,
this
I will.
gentleman here,
Oh yeah, we're bringing on the
bagpiper,
absolutely.
on
Maybe-
the St.
maybe he'll-
Patty's Day.
Well,
Is
I'm
my wife-
I'm going to stick around and
Yeah.
listen.
Hey,
That's-
Francois.
And we'll probably put you back in the chair,
Well,
but we just want to give
don't
this
have-
gentleman.
Put
It's
me
always
back
a
in the
pleasure,
chair.
man.
That sounds terrible.
Well, I didn't mean. I meant.
Yeah.
So I was trying to.
Back in the saddle. We'll put you in the saddle again.
That's right.
There we go.
Always
so
an
that was-
honor to have Francois.
Always a pleasure. Yes.
Yep.
And always good to hear the story and where it's been. and
Smells
where
starting
it's
to smell
going.
really good in here.
Yeah.
You smell food in here? I smell food.
Maybe some corned beef. And am I
Yeah.
smelling corned beef and cabbage or no?
Something. It smells.
Ham. Silly
Ham?
me. Yes, we should have known.
Smells
Thank you,
good.
Jen.
Yeah,
So
bring him on.
we have
Do you know his name?
thank you, Christopher Blair. Yeah. He's a bagpiper.
Well-
He was in here last night and played, and
You met him. Cool.
And again, I don't. Hopefully, it's not too loud. I don't-
No, man, it'll be
super,
cool.
Super loud.
We'll turn it down. But what we'll do is Francois, can Francois
Okay.
do the Irish jig while he plays? The French
Oh,
jig?
This stereotype has been brought to you by the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast.
I never heard that until I moved to the States.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You guys the way
Pepe Le
That,
Pew.
I mean,
that's-
Pepe
to
would-
Francois' point, that is. I mean, remember being a kid and you would make that dumbass.
I
sound
don't
like,
ever
"Oh,
remember
oh."
making. Yeah.
Oh, I love it when I hear Americans getting made fun of or whatever. That's the best. Like, oh, fucking. I would hope in some dimension right now. There's in an Asian country. There's people making their eyes round, going, "Look at me, I'm American," or whatever. You know how we would. When you're a kid, you kind of make some
Yeah.
stupid slant-eyed this or
Right.
whatever. I'm not trying to be whatever when I say that. I'm just
Yeah.
send your
Now,
hate
I
mail to
wonder
me.
if Americans do that because I did run into a guy from Quebec one time,
Oh,
and
Brittany,
he
how
kind
are
of sounded
you?
like that when he talked.
Brittany,
You
how
want
are
to be
you?
on a podcast?
I'm scared.
You should be more scared of us than the podcast itself. If you want to, you can
Where's the
sit
dude
down
at?
real quick and we'll just talk to you about doing the job. And if not, that's fine too.
Where's old boy at?
Yeah, we do logistics, so haul freight a little bit bigger than those boxes.
Where's
So, do you want to sit down or no?
Here.
All right, we don't want to get you in trouble. And you're is it Brittany? Is that right?
Brittany, yeah.
Brittany, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Did you grow up in Indy?
No, I'm
Or-
actually from Fort Wayne.
Oh,
Fine.
born in Fort Wayne.
Yes.
So am
you
I.
gotta get the
Really?
mic?
Two
Get
of
the
us.
mic close.
Okay.
Yes, you look considerably younger than I am, but
I'm
Fort Wayne-
31.
yeah, thanks, Brittany.
She's from the post
she can-
office?
leave. No, I'm joking. So you're here in Indianapolis. You're a postal carrier, is that right? Or
Yes, that's correct.
How did you get into this job?
So before I worked at the post office, I was working at Geico. I was an insurance agent, and I got tired of that, and I just applied to the post office.
Okay.
And
All right.
so
And you've been there for a minute, or have you
About-
been there?
5 years.
Okay.
I've had 2 different careers. I've been a clerk, and I've done the carrier as well.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to you growing up. So
Mm-hmm.
growing up in Fort Wayne, did you grow up your entire young adult life in Fort Wayne?
Yes.
So how many Comets games did you go to? Many, if any?
Zero.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of them. Yeah.
That's a fun. Is that not a fun time?
Yeah, when they're fighting, I love it. It's the best part.
So when I was growing up back in the day, the Indianapolis, it wasn't the fuel, it was the ice. And we would go up there in our Indianapolis stuff, and the chirping between fans was freaking phenomenal. That's a rivalry.
Yeah.
Fort Wayne and Indianapolis in hockey. That's a hell of a rivalry.
Really?
That's some good hockey. And then so Tin Caps games. Did you go to any Tin Caps games?
Wizards.
At the time it was the
Yeah,
Wizards.
yeah.
Yeah.
I went there.
Yep, a single A. Now they're that's a long time
I know,
ago.
right?
So
I feel so old.
So I have to admit that every so often when I do get the opportunity to go back to Fort Wayne, and my wife and my kids hate this, we always have to go eat at Hall's. One of them. I have to always go eat at Hall's.
Really?
You don't like it?
I like Halls, but I
Okay.
like Ziffles.
I don't think I've ever.
It's a
ate
good
at
place in
Ziffles.
it's Maple Crest.
Really?
Really good.
Is that
Family
new-ish?
owned. I used to work there.
Is that new-ish?
No, they've been there since 1983.
Hmm.
Family owned.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the Maple Crest part, is that what you were saying?
Yeah, it's right by Kroger's on Maple Crest and
Okay.
State.
So when you look at the sign of Kroger, is there an S on the end? Am I missing something?
Oops, I mean
No,
Kroger.
I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you. I always, anytime somebody says Kroger's, I'm like, that's not what it's.
I know. I do that sometimes.
I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you. So talk a little bit more about yourself. You have a family here in town, kids?
The only person I have here is my dad.
Okay, and how's your dad doing?
He's good.
What did he do for a living? As
He
was raising
he's actually
you?
a truck driver. So he drives up to Roanoke to the GM plant every day.
So he drives for General Motors, or who does he drive?
It's another company, but they work together, I guess.
Mhm.
He drops off parts and then he comes back home every day.
And how many years has he done that?
He's been there a couple years.
Oh, but has he been a truck driver? For
No,
a
not
long
his
time?
whole life. No, he's had many jobs.
Okay.
Too many to count.
Okay, but he likes doing what
Yeah.
he's doing.
He
now?
loves it.
All right. Well,
I thought about doing it,
I
but
bet
I
your
don't
dad
know.
would be good to have on the podcast. So we normally discuss logistics. We're a logistics podcast
Okay.
called Ship's Gonna Happen.
Yeah.
And we're interviewing truck drivers, and we talk to people in the industry. I bet your dad has some good stories.
Oh yeah, I have to tell him.
Yeah, please
Have him
do.
come down here.
Yeah. We probably won't be back until June here. We
Okay.
normally do.
Jen might kick us out forever.
Right.
No.
Well, there is that. There is.
There's a
No.
possibility.
There is that. Yeah. So I don't think we might. When we come back, it'll June at the earliest.
Okay.
So, but
Well, I'll keep in
I'll say
touch.
something to
Yeah.
Jen,
And then I'll
we'll-
tell my dad he's off on Saturday, so
Okay.
Good for him.
Awesome.
I bet he'll love to be
Awesome.
on.
Awesome. And you have a family of your own?
No,
No.
no kids, nothing.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's nice.
I'm one of the lucky ones in my class with no kids.
Right. That's an expense. And I'm not trying to put the dollar value on. having
Yeah,
children.
they are
I
expensive.
shouldn't say anything. But yeah. So
So-
your day starts when and ends when as a carrier?
I go in at 8:00 and it ends whenever I'm done. So some days it'll be
Wow.
4:00, or if people don't come to work, I get off at 6.
But this is a good job to retire from. I mean, I know you're super young, or no? Am I not? Is that not right?
It might have been good maybe 30 years ago.
Right.
Now it's changed.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
not. I don't feel like this would probably be the job that I'm gonna stay at
Oh.
and retire.
So, what other ambitions do you have?
I haven't decided yet.
Okay.
I had so many things that I planned
still
when I was
really
in
young.
college. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I just decided not to.
Where did you
pursue
go to
it.
school?
I started at IU Bloomington,
Okay.
and then I left
Mm-hmm.
and came back home, and made my way here.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
How long were you at the post office?
About 4 years.
Okay.
I was at Geico for about 5
Geico.
years. I've been in Indy 10 years total. So
Where were you from before that?
before Geico,
Or before Indy?
Fort Wayne.
Fort Wayne. Then.
Yeah. I used to work with people that had disabilities when I was there. Fort Wayne.
In a county capacity, or in a government capacity, or through
It was like a company.
ARC, like
Yeah, like so I worked for, it was AWS. Now
Mhm.
it's Benchmark and Bethesda Lutheran Communities.
kudos to you. That has to be a challenge, and I mean that in the right way.
Yeah.
A challenge.
I loved it though.
Yes.
It was very
Yes.
rewarding.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yeah, kudos. That's awesome. Actually, very,
Yeah.
very. That's awesome of you to
yeah,
have the. Yeah, that's cool. Super.
it's just they
cool.
don't pay enough. So I was like, I couldn't pay my bills less way,
Right.
but
So
I
were
love the
you-
job.
Again, going back to that job, were you a government employee? Were you just, or was it an independent?
It's a
how
county,
did they
isn't
get
it?
their? I guess is what I'm asking.
I'm
is were
thinking-
It's county.
I think they got it from
The
like the
county?
state,
Okay.
County and
and they
state.
paid us
Yeah.
Okay.
like Medicaid or something along those lines.
Okay.
I worked
Did
for. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, do you know if the Postal Service still has kind of the government retirement program? Because my mom and my stepfather worked as clerks
Okay.
for like, I don't know, maybe 10 years.
Okay.
And they were always kind of looking at that. Especially my stepdad was military, then
Oh.
Postal Service. So he was kind of adding those up.
They
Right.
bridge it
But-
together. Yeah.
Yeah. Did they?
So recently, I've heard that they're trying to go away with our pension.
Right.
Mhm.
They don't want
So our
Yeah, I love
president
pensions.
for the union, he has wrote President Biden trying to get him to save it, but
Okay.
I don't know.
you. Yeah, because
Isn't
what,
that the? I'm sorry.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Isn't that the first place the money has to go? Is into the postal workers' pension? Or am I thinking
Supposed
about
to.
something else? Or
No, it's supposed to, because what she's saying, like our age group, which is probably your parents are probably in my age group.
My parents are in their 55, 56.
Yeah, they're in
Yep,
our age
boom.
group. So our age
Same.
group saw that cut.
Mhm.
So if we were at the post office now, we'd get what we had in until that change.
I see.
Mhm.
And then that change was less for all unions. They've done that.
Yeah.
So, which is sad, because it was a very good job, especially for military people
Yep.
that
Yeah.
would go into the post office.
Mhm.
They would gap all that together, and then you could retire at like
Yeah.
60 with a pretty good,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now I don't know.
I don't think America
It's
as a
changed
whole
so
does
much.
it anymore. Yeah.
I feel like
mean,
everybody around 30, 35 and younger doesn't expect
right.
any kind of pension
Well,
or anything.
I'm in.
No.
My wife has a government pension. I don't even think about that. I don't
Yeah.
even think of that's something that probably not going to exist. Or
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. They've tried like hell to get rid of them all. So
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking I'm going to have to work until I die at this point.
Well, I mean, the truth be told,
Well-
Brittany, I mean, who in this room doesn't kind of
Yeah.
think? And I'm not. I'm trying to be honest, I guess.
well, the
Yeah.
government keeps saying that our life, they want to raise the retirement
Yeah.
age, right?
I heard it was like 70.
That's what they want. But the thing is, during COVID, our life expectancy lowered by 2
Yeah.
years.
But a different topic for a different day. Essentially, we are one. And I hate to think this way. I'm one healthcare scare away from being completely broke. Like if something medically, I mean,
Yeah.
just
Right.
a different topic for a different day.
Yeah.
But the
Well,
medical,
it's
the way
the
the
topic
medical,
now.
that's just effed up
Yeah.
way of. Anyway,
No one should. No human or family should be burdened by a medical expense.
Do you know?
Right.
Do you know Sean who works here? Young Sean. He's 42. He just had a heart attack. So
Oh my
Sean was
gosh.
back yesterday. And the first question, I didn't want to ask him about this. I go, how? And he had the heart attack. What, November? Jen,
Wow.
when did Sean have his heart? November or December? Yeah. So
Wow.
the question I didn't want to ask him, but I'm like, dude, how much of your medical bills are piling up? How do
Yeah.
they ever expect that to get paid back? And I'm not trying
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
whatever when I say that. It's just like,
Well, I mean, everyone my age too, they're like complaining like with the wages now, like we're almost homeless. We're like 2 paychecks away from being homeless.
Right.
Like the wages are not matching the cost of living for us.
Yeah.
Right.
We're
So
not
it's
buying
like-
houses.
No, and it's like
It's
for Jen as a
crazy.
business owner, right?
Yeah.
Like she can't offer people I'm assuming insurance, right? So if
Yeah.
people had it
Yeah.
automatically, it would be a much more employable environment. If we just said you get free insurance if you
Right.
have a job,
Yeah.
right? If you work that would solve it all. We got it all screwed up.
Yeah.
So Nolan, to your point of not being able to afford to buy a house, it's not just the cost of buying a house; those
Yeah.
interest rates are insane.
Yeah.
Or at least I look at
Inflation.
them
Yeah.
as insane.
Well,
yeah.
you know,
Even with the
and-
car.
sure.
Right.
Oh my God.
So my father and mother-in-law bought a house at $50,000
Mm-hmm.
in like 1989 or something.
Yeah,
like
that's what
that.
they went for. 50, 60
And,
grand was a big house.
They could sell that. This is in a small town, like
300-400 grand.
oh yeah, 300 grand. They're like, well, if we sold it, we'd do about 150. We said, no, your house is 300 grand.
We bought
Yeah.
our house in Lebanon in 1994 for right around $85,000. I bet I've bought that thing no less than 3 times. And the amount of money that you spent in principal and interest to pay for it, blah, 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 that's already been paid. But then the amount of money you've put back into it, I'm like, I'm sick and tired of putting money into this effing thing. I mean, because it's, I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong, but it's just crazy. Brittany, we don't want to keep you. We know you.
Brittany, thank you.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure meeting you.
Stop back by, please.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And I'll
I'll
definitely
let
tell my
Jen
dad.
know. Yeah, and I'll let Jen know next time we're here.
Okay.
We'll get your dad on and stuff.
Yeah.
And you're more than welcome anytime.
Okay.
And Ship's Gonna Happen. You can catch us on any platform.
Okay.
YouTube is probably maybe the easiest, or no?
Apple Podcast?
iHeart is our biggest subscriber.
Okay.
iHeart
Okay.
Radio. Yeah.
Okay.
I do have a letter that I need to get in the mail.
I can take it.
You can take it.
Yeah.
I'm Dave. This is Tony, and that's Nolan.
Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah. Thanks
All
for
right.
stopping by
No
today.
problem.
You're awesome.
Thanks.
And yeah. Thanks for sharing your story with us.
No problem. You guys have a
Come
good
back
day.
any-
Hey, you
Anytime you
too.
do the same.
Happy St. Pat's Day.
Happy
Yeah.
St. Patty's Day.
We'll drink one for you.
Okay, yeah.
Can I drink 2 for you?
Go ahead.
Ah,
Take
okay.
enough.
All right.
He's going to do
All right.
3. You know he'll do 3.
If you get off soon, Brittany, we'll be here. We'll stop by. We'll buy you a beer.
So
All right. Well, we'll buy you something. You drink it all? Okay. It's all good. See you, Brittany. No,
Yeah.
you're good. You're good.
all right.
And now
Here
we've
we
got
go.
a special guest. Chris, how are you, sir?
Howdy do.
It's good to have you.
Yes, thank
My
you.
name's Dave, Tony, and Nolan. So Chris is
Hello.
our bagpiper today. It's St. Patty's Day weekend.
He's
Yeah,
piecing
all
it
over the
together
place. Not
right
just in
now.
Indianapolis, but
So
all over the place. So
he's going to give us a nice blow here.
So Chris-
Oh, that's very nice. Yes, thank
Yeah.
you very much. Well, we are in a pub, so
right, right. So Chris, can you give us a little bit of background on how you got?
Oh, I didn't mean it
involved
like that.
with But that's the way. But yeah, it was the tone.
Uh,
Just messing with you.
these
gonna
days
blow
I
through
sort
the
of bill
bagpipe.
myself as a somewhat displaced but not retired Broadway musician.
Really?
30 years in New York City, but grew up in the Midwest here in Indiana.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Went to Ball State and IU, studied music.
Right.
And played wind instruments, bassoon and things like that. And between COVID and aging parents, I decided to make my way back here to Indiana, gave up my apartment on Greenwich Street in New York City, and
Right.
bought a little house in southern Indiana, cared for my folks, who were both musicians too,
Mm-hmm.
until they passed. But I've got a little pied-à-terre here in Indianapolis, and James and Jennifer here at the Great Divide are wonderful old friends. And I've had various groups over the years come through and played at the old Lockerbie pub, but
Right.
it's nice to be in this new space and a whole different deal
Yeah.
with all of this cooperative help and
Right,
things. And
yeah.
of course, it's St. Patrick's Day,
Yes,
so
sir.
here we are, and ran into y'all last night.
Yeah,
and
yeah, very nice to meet you. And
Yes,
you entertained us last evening with some awesome bagpipe and David Meek on the piano. Chris was playing the bagpipe, and it was so.
Oh, I bet that was
cool.
good.
I'm so
I'm
glad
guessing-
it was entertaining and not well.
Yeah.
With bagpipes, the world divides
Really?
because people either just go nuts for the bagpipes and instant waterworks, or not,
Okay.
or they run screaming in the other direction.
Okay.
St. Patty's Day must be like peak season for the bagpipes, I'm guessing.
Oh, it's high holy days, no question. But bagpipes are, they're mostly associated with, say, Ireland and Scotland. But your previous guest, who is a Frenchman, a man
Yep,
from France,
French.
he can tell you that there's at least 3 different bagpipes from different regions of, like the Massif Central in France. There's the Musette. There's the Binu-Cos, which comes from Brittany. So, their bagpipes are they're one of the oldest weird instruments of the world.
Isn't it
They
weird?
smell funny,
Yeah.
too. That's amazing part
Really?
of it. Yeah.
When you smell funny, you mean like a musty or something kind of? Or is there a way to describe it? And if not, that's
Well,
okay.
the bag of a bagpipe is essentially leather. People will say they get various culinary things confused with musical instruments. So in Scotland, they have a sort of a gigantic sausage, which is called a haggis, and it's in a natural casing like sausage would be.
Okay.
But people often think the Highland bagpipes, the bag is made of leather. They confuse it with haggis, and they think that the bag of the pipe is made from some sort of entrails. That is not correct.
Yeah.
But however, in the old days, like my bagpipe bag is synthetic, so it doesn't require seasoning, which makes it airtight.
Okay.
So back in the day, the Scottish Highland pipes, I've got 2 sets of pipes here and some Irish penny whistles, but the instrument itself, because of that seasoning, which was sort of like treacle and beeswax, it's sort of like a fix-a-flat for a musical instrument.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I mean, the world divides around the bagpipe. And bagpipes in general go back to about 500 BC.
Wow.
East. And just like brass instruments or timpani, a lot of those instruments came into Europe during the First Crusade around 900 AD, made their way largely with the Celts, who were a radially expanding group of amazingly ingenious peoples.
Right.
But they were herding people, and so that they raised sheep, they followed the grass, and so bagpipes disseminated all across the steppes of Russia. And you can tell I'm not interested in it. As someone once said, if there's such a thing as bagpipe underwear, Christopher Layer will have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
All right.
I'm curious how difficult, like you've played other instruments as well.
I grew up playing a fife in the Tippecanoe Ancient Fife and Drum Corps in Lafayette, Indiana,
Nice.
Tippecanoe County.
Yep.
Huh.
And I also studied the bassoon as I got into Sunnyside Junior High and Lafayette, Indiana, and I expanded into other flutes and things. But the Fife and Drum Corps and the 42nd Royal Highland Regiment of Lafayette, it's a pipe band. They shared a recreational vehicle, as people in Indiana do.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically, I got to know, my best friend was a guy named John Howland, and he would drive the RV when the Fife and Drum Corps would use it. And so I dangerously hung around bagpipers.
Oh, wow.
And
Rough crowd.
Yeah, I was working as a tour guide and a fife player at Fort Mackinac, and somebody else played the pipes there. And I said, Chris, you should play the bagpipe. You'd be good at it. And so I learned, and over 2 years of this Aspen Summer School of Music, I started to play the pipes at 9,000 feet. So I figure if it is hard to play the bagpipe, you might as well start, it's all downhill from Aspen.
Right.
And so the gentlemen of Aspen sort of adopted me as their official bagpiper.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was that was a good thing. And they have a good tradition of street music in Aspen, Colorado.
Yeah.
All right.
And so I played on the street and played the fife on the street. And someone once gave me $100 to stop playing the bagpipe. He said, actually, I like pipe music. He was at an outdoor cafe in Aspen there at the foot of the mountain, and I was playing the pipes. He said, but I just got off of a plane from Europe, and my head is done in, and I just want to have, and I took the $100 and packed up my hat and left. Because why not? That's like $100 for 10 seconds of bliss for that guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but that was an interesting place to learn the pipes for sure. And those were the Highland pipes, which you actually blow into. Now the little ones, which I can give you a little sample of.
Yeah, give us a sample.
Has a bellows around. It's around your.
It's around his
core,
waist,
and then you have a little strap here. You put your arm through, so you pump.
Oh.
I used to say it's the only bagpipe that comes with its own seat belt.
Okay.
Because you're it's belted on.
Yeah.
And then I'll just hope your listeners don't hear me
we're not
crashing around too much.
Oh no,
Just to describe the room that we're in, it's basically paneled in patinated leather. Oh wait, sorry.
Yeah.
It's a very rustic, almost like an Irish pub looking.
correct.
Yeah.
It's not just the weather,
Right.
which is beautiful here in the Midwest, by the way.
It is. Yes, very much. So. Spring is
Sometimes.
So, what to describe to your listeners? There's a part you play the tune on, and that's called the chanter. Then there's a part that's constant, kind of like a vacuum cleaner, and those are called the drones, drones.
Oh, wow.
We owned that word before the Marines, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But and the word drone, we want to rescue it back because some people consider the word drone, droning on, sort of like my buzzsaw voice. But the drones are the constant. And in French, by the way, that's called bourdon. Bourdon.
Wow.
And so you pump the bellows, it goes through a pipe into the bag. And then when you press on the bag, it forces air through the double reed of the chanter and the single reeds of the drones. And then, so in this case, I'm going to play a tune, something seasonally appropriate, I guess, just slowly. And this one isn't too loud, so you should be okay with that. Is that all right?
Nice. Yeah, I like it.
Mind blown.
So this is a tune. This is called a potato picking tune because in the north of Ireland, a lot of times seasonal workers would come from Scotland into Ireland or from Ireland into Scotland, right, to work, like to pick potatoes. And so this tune really comes originally from Scotland, but it's a very common dance tune, particularly in the Northern Ireland. The three counties are Armagh and Derry and Belfast. So this is called The Braes of Mar.
How cool was that? How cool
Wow,
was that?
man.
Well done.
So this pipe is called the Scottish small pipe.
Okay.
And it's very similar to the Irish uilleann pipe, which is a very good, like a good Scrabble word. U-I-L-L-E. Is it U-I-L-L-E-A-N-N?
Wow.
Yeah, the Irish, just put an extra N on there and an H a H next to the D.
Right.
So the word uilleann means elbow or bend. You have a bone in your arm called the ulna. And so that's actually a Gaelic word, which means elbow. And so they are elbow pipes because of the bellows.
Yeah.
So cool.
Speaking of elbow, I was going to say that you're making it
Chad,
look
if you want to
easy.
sit down, you can sit right there if you want to.
You're making it look easy.
If you want to sit down, you can sit right there. Okay.
I was going to say you're making it look easy, but for the people listening that can't see, he is moving two elbows and all 10 fingers at the exact same time.
Point, Nolan.
And stepping,
and
keeping
stepping,
tune, and it's
yeah.
pretty incredible.
I mean, it's appropriate. I mean, it sounds appropriate for the day. I mean, St. Patty's Day, it has that sound.
What's unique about the Highland pipe, really, or the Irish pipe, is that it is a continuous sound. So you hear those little chirps; those are actually little musical notes. So when I describe to my students what a pipe tune should sound like, I say it's like crossing a stream. There are little rocks between the big rocks, and those little notes give articulation to the melody.
Yeah.
So a violin can do that if you're constantly using the bow and it doesn't leave the string. But the bagpipes are really, they really are a very unique. It's related to the pipe organ, actually.
Yeah. Okay. I could see that, I guess.
easier to carry the bagpipe around.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
A
clearly.
little bit.
Yeah.
So where would people find you? Where would our listeners find information about you? Your
Actually, I
teaching,
would
what you
send
do?
folks towards the. I started an all acoustic, all styles music festival, which ran for 10 years from 2012 up and through 2023 in New Harmony, Indiana. So the website's we're reconstructing some things, but there's almost 50 hours of live recordings that we made of Tom McDermott from New Orleans, Arno Sussman from Strasbourg, classical musicians, traditional musicians. It can be like sort of Bernsteinian, any style. Anyway, if you go to New Harmony Music Fest and just cram all that together, and then .com, you can kind of poke around there, and there are live recordings. We made 3 films, 22 live radio broadcasts. I'm a Hoosier,
Wow.
so
Yeah.
I really enjoyed New Harmony enough to buy a little house there. I'm glad I did.
Right.
Right. But so I would say newharmonymusicfest.com is where you can hear lots, not just me, but lots of my pals. And if people want to email, I'm just my name, Christopher, Christopher, Layer, Layer, @gmail.
Okay.
Happy to hear from folks too.
Yeah.
I brought-
So you grew up in Lafayette. Was that the Jeff School District or what school district?
yes, I was a Lafayette Jefferson Bronco.
There we go. How much is that? Do you ever get back to that area at all? I mean, how different? And that place, that every time I go to Lafayette, which isn't very often, it just changes so much over the time.
It is it's a burgeoning community. It was founded in the early 19th century.
Right.
It was originally called Digbyville, and then in 1833, during this triomphe, a guy named the Marquis de Lafayette was a very young general with Rochambeau and with George Washington during the American Revolution. He came back to the United States in the 1830s. So every Lafayette, California, Lafayette, Colorado,
Louisiana,
Pennsylvania, Indiana, they're all named for this French dude who was a military commander at 19 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. The average age of a lieutenant in the American Army in the early 19th century, a first lieutenant, 19. Same age as we sent all those young people to Vietnam.
Right.
Really a different world, isn't it?
Right.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I really love history, as you can tell.
Yeah.
Clearly.
And the history of these traditional musical instruments is just of great interest to me. I love the fiddle. My dad was a bluegrass fiddle player till he died in his 90s.
Really?
And but I go back to Lafayette because as I began to succeed in music, I produced a pop show with Jack Everly, the old pops conductor here in Indianapolis, called the Celtic Celebration. As Jack used to call it, the show that will not die. And we produced that show with Indianapolis Symphony many times, and I did a lot of solo work with Lafayette Symphony.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great. You can go see your parents and get paid.
Right. So Chad, this is my high school buddy Chad here. So when we were growing up in high school, literally the south side of Indianapolis, of Lafayette, was Staley's, and now the south side of Lafayette's much further south.
Yeah, it's come all the way down to McCutcheon High School. Actually, there's
Right.
it was a city that went off of its urban plat when they built 52 bypass,
Mm-hmm.
and then he built 65. And the city really faced a lot of challenges in terms of the health of the downtown area.
Mm-hmm.
But one of my great mentors, and the guy that started the Feast of the Hunter's Moon and the Indiana Fiddlers Gathering,
Yeah.
William Harry Baugh, his family, he grew up there.
Yeah.
They were cattle people. And he kind of single-handedly said, no, we got to save downtown Lafayette. And that is really, I think you would agree, it's very much a centerpiece of the health of that community.
Yeah. So my dad worked for GTE, which is now Verizon, when there were actually landline telephones.
Mm-hmm.
And we grew up in Colfax, Indiana.
Yeah, Miller's.
Miller, Chad and I both worked there through high school.
Catfish.
So this is where these
the white T-shirts.
This is where this is where actually we were button up. We had to wear button up white jeans, the white long sleeve shirts.
That's right. I love that.
That's when we kept our girlish figure back then.
That was
too.
a very
we were
butch,
skinny.
James Dean, kind of James Dean look.
And so on the very rare, the treat every now and again would be when my dad would bring Arnie's home for supper. Like after getting off work at Miller's on a Friday and then walking in the house after, being a kid and like, boom, there was a salad and pizza from Arnie's. I'm like,
Arnie Cohen. Yeah. He's still around. He's a great supporter of the Indiana Fiddlers Gathering.
Oh, okay.
So, but
that's cool.
That's wonderful. Yeah. I love that area for catfish. And I used to chew on the tails when I was a little kid.
Yeah. Chad and I, when we worked there, the best thing that we got, and I mean this, like the only thing we ever got to eat was like we would walk by a loaf of bread. There would be a loaf of Wonder Bread open, and we'd grab a slice really quick, fold it into a bunch of pieces, and shove it in your mouth and just keep moving because those cheap asses didn't feed us. So
you can fish with Wonder Bread.
There were no child labor laws back in the day either. So when we started work when we started work at 3, we didn't get off until whatever time. And I'm not complaining because it was actually an awesome work experience. I wouldn't trade it for nothing, but yeah, Chad and I both, that was our formidable years growing up in that restaurant. So
it's amazing to be back here in Indianapolis as well. I lived here on the near north side, 1930 New Jersey Street, with a Heron grad commercial artist named John Brooks. And now the place I'm renting is a room with my friend Sarah Love, also a Heron grad,
right,
at 22nd and Capitol.
Right.
So I'm again on the near north side, and I tell my friends, like my nurse friend Roz, who works at Eskenazi,
she comes in here all the time,
she's regular. And I met James and Jennifer in the 80s when I lived here. And I say, what brought me back here was I just wasn't ready to fight my way back into New York City, which is a wonderful, wonderful place, and you can hear many languages in one block, and I love that diversity. I'm gay myself, so. Leaving Indiana in the 88 wasn't so much about fleeing as just seeking a place that had an ample diversity of music and an ample diversity of peoples. I speak several languages and have traveled and taught all around the world. But as Bill Goodman used to work for my brother, Kurt Layer, at the Indiana Roof Ballroom for the Jack and Danny Bate, Bill Goodman said to me once, when I said I was moving to New York, he says, you know what, being from Indiana plays very well in New York City. And I didn't, I'm a chameleon. I could change my accent. So when I'm in, now I'm in Posey County, I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
But when I'm in New York City, I just flatten out like David Letterman, who also went to Ball State, another Cardinal.
Yeah.
And Bill Goodman was absolutely right. It does play very well. But coming back here, as to finish up that little chapter there, I said to Roz and all my friends here, rather than fight my way into New York City, just having a walk down Massachusetts Avenue where we used to play at Mugwumps in the 80s with a band I started with, Terry Bellner, called Hog-Eye Navy. Still plays up at the Aristocrat. I tell young people that I meet here on the streets in Indianapolis, you can be proud of what's happening here. It's the streets need some work and all kinds of things like that. But just like this Great Divide pub, we can all use a little bit of renovation. I know I can at 59 years old. So there you are. Hey, I brought a penny whistle. Now this is the most Irish instrument I got.
Okay. All right.
Why do you say that?
The penny whistle is an instrument. It's real ubiquitous in Ireland. Lots and lots of people can start on a wind instrument with this. It just has 6 holes and a little fipple flute. And so it's probably the most common of the Irish instruments. And it's very much associated with dance music. So I thought I'd play it.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay. So a jig is something in 6/8. This is your educational St. Patrick's Day. A jig goes, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty, it has a lilting sort of feel. And so I'll play just a couple of jigs.
Well done.
Nice.
That was a little Gilligan's Island there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got that. I got that.
I loved it.
Well done. Well
Nice.
done.
So that's the Irish penny whistle.
You have more talent in your whole body than I do in my pinky.
You've got a significant pinky, though. I got to
Right.
say,
It's a catcher's mitt.
when I
have
shook
two
your
of them.
hand last
Yeah,
night, I said
yeah.
some friends of mine said it's not so much a handshake that he's got, but it's more like a warm embrace. You see,
My spouse wouldn't agree with that, but okay.
a little bit of the learning there now for yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
You make me want to drink beer.
You want one? We'll buy you one.
I might
You
do
want a
that.
Coors Light, or you
Give
want
him
something
one.
Different?
Oh, I think a Coors Light, or is there something different?
We can get you something different. I'm kind of a Coors Light guy, but we can get you something
well,
different.
I
I'd
want
be
to
more
drink
than
what
happy
you're.
to-
I want to drink what you're drinking. Oh, here it comes. Full sound effects.
Yep.
All right.
It's already open. So
Already
I can't
open.
like.
Did it
Oh, no.
arrive this
Yeah.
way at the pub? Already?
Yeah.
Right.
It's like the trombone that's welded
Boom.
in place. You know, they tune it at the factory.
Francois, that's my high school friend Chad. Chad, this is Francois. Chad, this is Chris, Nolan, and Tony. So
At some point, when you kick me out, maybe I'll finish with the large lawn and garden style.
Oh, yeah.
Great Highland bagpipe.
Tony, how are we looking?
We're an
on
hour and a
time?
half into this.
So
dude.
we
We're deep.
need to.
Yeah.
We need to wrap it up.
Yeah, we do.
Okay. All right.
It's
So
going to cut me off.
We'll finish. Go ahead and wrap up now. Then probably.
Yeah, if you want to. Yeah.
All right. Well, we appreciate Chris again.
Yeah.
Very.
Chris, that was awesome, man.
Yeah. So
Thank
you want
you.
to
Very cool.
finish with a black?
Yes.
Can we do that?
Yes,
Can we end
absolutely.
on that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Nolan, thank you for sitting in. Jen,
Nolan.
thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us
Yep.
today.
Francois,
Sorry to turn the room upside down.
we'll straighten it back out.
As they say, a little ways uptown, gentlemen.
Start your engines.
There you
Yeah.
Producer
Okay.
Tony.
I'm just going to stand away from the microphone.
Yeah.
It's like the Ethel Merman of musical instruments. You can just sing directly. Over the line.
Yeah.
So this is the great Highland bagpipe. It can be used to peel paint. It has all sorts of qualities. The principal quality being that it is loud and somewhat.
Let's try it.
Here we go. Thanks to James and Jennifer too. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well done. Well done. Well done.
What
well
the
done.
heck?
Thank you very much, Chris. Outstanding job. Thanks again to the Great Divide. Thank you, Nolan, for sitting in. Nolan,
Thank
you did
you.
an outstanding job. Producer Tony. Francois, thank you for being here today. Gabe just walked in. We got a second for Gabe or no?
We're going to run out of time, man.
No.
I can
I
only
mean, just-
upload like an hour and a half.
Okay, we'll just
We're
say,
at like 4 minutes.
Gabe, really quick. Gabe, we got 4 minutes. You got a second, or can you hop on and say hi real quick? So Gabe, yep.
Yeah, so I was going to just stop by for a few minutes anyway.
You were going to
Yeah,
what?
just
Wanted to-
Gabe,
just-
how are you doing, man?
Gabe, good to see you, buddy.
Hey, I'm doing
How
pretty good. How are you guys?
look
Is it
good.
on?
Good.
Check,
good.
check.
It's been a
He
minute.
always looks good.
It's been
Yeah.
a minute. It's been how's life? Everything all right? Or
Yeah, it's good so far. I don't know. Just
Okay.
had some stuff come up, personal stuff, but
that's okay.
other than that,
But
life's
we'll,
going.
We'll get
moving
through
on.
it. And
Yeah.
are you fly? Have you been flying lately, or no? Or are you still off?
Yeah, I'm off right now until about next week. So
okay, back up next week then.
Yes,
All
sir.
right,
Hopefully.
all right,
Yeah.
all right. Well, we really just wanted to get you on here and say hi and kind of check in with you and stuff. So we're probably gonna come. We only got like 3 minutes left now, probably, or whatever, and we'll definitely come back in June. And June, if we can get you back then, kind of catch up a little bit more or whatever, that'd be cool too. So. Looks like you brought a crew with you today.
Yeah, well, I brought him in. We're on our way to
brother? Good to see
St.
you.
Patty's Day brunch. Yeah.
Are you going to St. Patty's Day brunch?
Yeah, we have some
Nice.
friends, and we just made like 4 pounds of bacon. That was our job. So everybody else's is I don't know.
Did you not have 5 or whatever?
That's
yeah.
That's what I came to at the store. No, you can't. So I probably reek of bacon right now, but I don't know if that's a bad thing. So
I don't think it is.
No. I'm kind of hungry. It smells good.
Exactly. Gabe, thanks for swapping
Yep.
by.
Yeah,
I just
no,
wanted to bring you on
appreciate
here real
it.
quick. So Gabe's been a guest in the past few times, so wanted to get him on here and say hello. So,
hey, appreciate it, guys. You guys are the best.
Yep. Thank you.
Happy St. Patty's Day, everybody. This ship's going to happen. We are out.